Welcome to Dr. Amazon Podcast, the emergency support channel for FBA private label sellers. We invite top Amazon experts to share the most efficient tips and tricks for your businesses. We are trying to deliver only accurate, credible, and relevant information. My name is Vitaly Fizhniak and I am the CGO of Profit Whales. And let's get started. This episode will be not typical as all previous episodes. Today we will have a dual interview and about the purchasing Amazon businesses, and we will have a chance to speak on both sides. Please welcome Nate Jackson, who is VP of Acquisitions at Perch, a company that acquires and operates Amazon businesses, and to Aidan, who is one of the people who has sold his business to Perch. Nice to meet you here.
Vitaly, thanks for having us.
I'm really glad that you both of you find the time to join us today. It's very interesting to have this dual interview to hear thoughts from both sides. It's some kind of new for the company who just acquire businesses and directly with your client who sold the business to you. So I would be glad to start with the questions if it will okay. And I would like to ask you, Aidan. Could you please give me some more background on your Amazon FBA business, like Amazon, your experience, and when you get like this idea on selling business came to you?
Sure. So when I first started e-commerce, it was I think 3 and something years ago. I didn't think about selling or actually creating a business that can be sold. It wasn't even something that happened. It was very hard to understand, to speculate it could happen in the future. So three and a half years ago, I started it with no intention of selling it, and I started with a business partner, with a partner. Mm-hmm. The first year or so, we worked together, and after that, we decided we saw things a bit differently, so we decided to split up. And let's say around 2 years ago, I restarted my own Amazon business, and then a year ago, I started hearing about businesses being sold, and I understood it's a possibility. It's something that happens. And in the beginning of this year, I thought I should sell my business for regional profit. We're gonna elaborate on it in the next question. But basically, then when I decided to do it, I just found the right people to work with and proceeded with the process.
That is really great because you have like a goal and the main understanding why you would like to grow the business and how. And here's the question. I understand that you find a right people as a Perch, that the company could just purchase your business. But how did you start with it? How did you do this research and why you have stopped on Perch? Like, what was the main reasons about that?
Okay, so I'll even start with a small with explanation of why I wanted to sell, because I know every business wants to sell. A lot of businesses want to sell for different reasons. Some of them want to do like a cash out. Some of them want to mitigate the risk. Some of them want to relaunch and then reboot or something. In my specific case, I had business opportunities, which in a way, in order to follow them, I had to sell my business. But regardless of the reason, I think the selling process should be more or less the same. So what I did when I first thought about selling the business is to gather information and gather the right people to work with. And I strongly recommend to everybody that wants to sell the business to do the same. Talk to people who did it, find the right people to escort you. It could be the lawyer that helps you with the contract, the broker that helps you find the right the right acquiring company, and of course the right acquiring company. And I think that the fact that it's very, as you said, it's very rare to have both the party that sold the business and the other party that bought the business on the same Zoom meeting, on the same conversation. So you understand that we have very good relationship, and I think this really helps throughout the process. So it's obviously another very important thing to find on the way, to find the right company to purchase it. In my case, I think I made the right choices. I'm very pleased with all the people that work with me, and I'm still in great touch with Native and Perch, and we're still going to be in touch in the future, I assume. And I recommend everybody to do more or less the same. Find the
Exactly.
right people.
I knew how it's difficult to build these trustful relationships between you and client when you work as an agency. Yeah, to like be proactive in some actions, to give more than you expect, and to build this way of sharing some thoughts about your business for some friends. Yeah, or any Amazon sellers that you knew, for example, as a purge company, and you could recommend it. Yeah, as a the best referral for them. So as for me, yeah, it's a really big surprise, and I have some questions for Nate because I really. I think that you remember this day when you first time start working with Aidan, and I would I would be glad if you will just go across from the beginning by the end. Yeah, when and how did you start working with it? What was like the first steps? Like, could you please tell us the roadmap about this process?
Yeah, sure. So at Perch overall, my role is the head of acquisition. So I'm taking every conversation from the first meeting with someone like Idan, where we're strangers, through to negotiating the transaction, to closing it, and then integrating it and switching over to Perch running the business from Idan running the business, and then apparently months later, chatting on WhatsApp and planning a visit to Tel Aviv at some point to visit. Which we're waiting on COVID, but I think it'll happen in 2021 at some point. But yeah, at Perch, we are a serial acquirer and operator of Amazon brands. So at this point, it was fairly early on with Idan. It was probably just the third or fourth that I was involved in, and at this point, it would be significantly more than that. But with Idan, we first heard about him from one of our partners, Fortinet, a brokerage based in Israel. And, basically we see an initial overview of a business, and there are a lot that we say, hey, great business, but it's not a great fit for us. Perch is focused on brands that are of a certain scale. So generally seven-figure brands that, have hero products in general. So brands that have found a leading spot within a niche. With strong reviews and strong organic ranking, and good profitable metrics, and a reason to compete in the long term. And so we saw a lot of that in Idan's business, and wanted to chat with him. It's funny to the sort of conclusions you can come from the end of a 1 hour initial call, where you're trying to gather a lot. You're trying to learn more about the business, trying to understand how it would be to work with somebody, sort of what your key questions would be going forward. But I think coming out of the call felt like, boy, this is in many ways exactly what we would look for in a business. I think Idan seemed great we knew that he was very knowledgeable, and trusted that he'd be good to work with. And, we started the negotiation process around, it's never just about one big price. It's not just one big number. There's a bunch of components. How do we think about the overall upside that Idan would have that we might set as a full price? How much does somebody care about cash at close versus that trade-off? And I think what's nice is you can do that back and forth through a broker, or oftentimes, like in our case, I think Michal basically laid out the things that matter to Idan, and Idan likewise from us. And then we basically had a conversation and said, let's figure out what works, sort of, here are the levers that we can pull together. And then from there, once we got to agreement, that's where the real partnership begins. It does require a bunch of trust on both ends at different points along the way. I would say, you get to points where you're working together in good faith to get to the bottom of just really what the underlying business is and has done over time, and then how we can position ourselves to transition to a new owner, which is the migration process with Amazon itself is something that you need to take seriously. And then it's not exactly over there, because there will be things that come up with the supplier or things that come up with Amazon where I'm very fortunate that Edon isn't just saying, "Screw you guys, see you later." We're on WhatsApp and able to coordinate on things, and so that's where for me it matters a lot that I feel I just have a good feeling about somebody early on in the process.
Exactly.
Well.
Great. Could you please tell me more about the audit process? What data and metrics you take on control when you start, checking the business? What is important to know on the beginning, or what is the best way to prepare your business for sale, for example, if the people would like to ask you, about this request?
It's interesting. At this point, I can tell whether I'm interested in a business to acquire in the first place just by looking at the storefront for the most part. I can get a rough estimate of revenue. I can get if somebody has leadership review positions, I can have a decent sense for whether I'm interested in the business. When you get to the point of an offer and you're actually doing we call it the diligence, really the goal there is either in the case of Edon, if you have financial statements that have been prepared that say, my revenue is X million and my profit is Y. Basically, the goal of the diligence process is to recreate that. The good news is that a lot of that, and independently verified, the good news is a lot of that comes directly from Amazon, right? So transaction reports, revenue, sales histories, Amazon expenses, PPC by and large. But then really the review is a combination of our team collating and reviewing banking statements, and then also just reviewing supplier invoices, and then having some broader, more fun operational discussions around how you actually run the business and making some transition planning there. And every business there's a P&L that you start. Sometimes you start with a P&L, a profit and loss statement. Sometimes this wasn't the case with Edon, but sometimes I'll have somebody reach out that says, "I'd like to sell my business. I actually don't. I know the revenue I'm making. I know I'm making money, but I actually don't know what my profit is." And in that situation, we just start agreeing on a multiple, and then what we do together is build the profit and loss statement together. Do that collaboratively, get inputs, and listen to each other, and rebuild something. And you've agreed on the multiple, and so it's really just about building up to that profit and loss number. But I think you should ask Edon about what the experience was for him, but I think the heavy lifting is up front in gathering the initial data, and then hopefully for the most part it's throwing over the fence to our team to churn through it for a bit, and then we coordinate on our findings and go from there.
That is a really great experience. And how do you just start the thinking about the businesses and make the analysis about that? Because it's not so typical approach on that, because you do like the individual way, like unique way, like a tailor-made approach for each of the clients that you will see and meet. That's why I have a question for Edon. In the case of, how did you prepare your business for selling? Do you have any ideas about on long term that you would like to do it, and what metrics you are focusing on when you work with this Amazon business?
Sure. So because I didn't think I will sell the business in the beginning, it wasn't 100% prepared, so I had to do some adjustments on the way. One of my recommendations to other people, I guess, when you want to sell your business, if you work so hard and put so much effort into it, besides the fact that you want trustworthy people around, you also want to make sure everything is going to work smoothly and by the book and no surprises. So I would definitely recommend now to separate everything and make it organized as possible. For example, my business activity was mainly Amazon, but I had some other businesses or small ones here in my country, which I would recommend to separate, to have just one business for the brand, one brand, or at least you can have more than one brand, but registered brands, one company, only the accounts that you want to sell being separated, different domains, so it would be easy to transfer. All these things you need to think about you can extract everything and just transfer it without causing too much damage on your side or too much yeah, for example, I did use different domains, so now we have this period where they lend me my old email domain, which is okay. You can always find uh, ways to bypass all these things, but you should be as organized as possible. Very important to have your trademarks registered,
Mhm.
and also if you have any contracts with your suppliers. I know that Nature really insisted to, which is good to see the contract, obviously. And then I realized I should have probably placed in the exclusivity contract with the suppliers a small
Mhm.
clause saying I can transfer it to a third party in case I sell the business. And I just did it in like 24 hours because my suppliers were very cooperative. But again, those small things can help you go through the process very smoothly. When it comes to the entire P&L and the analysis of the business, to be honest, I didn't really do it myself. I used the broker, as Nate mentioned, the fortunate company from Israel, and they did it for me. And when I saw the final results, it was a long process. I supplied them with more and more documents. And when I saw the result, the final presentation, I was a bit surprised from the how yeah how well put it was, and I actually ended up learning new things about my business. Um, and
Surprised in a good way or a bad way, Idan?
in a good way that
Yeah.
all those nice charts and
Oh,
everything
yeah, yeah.
and those ties and then it made me and the process for me and for Perch
Uh-huh.
much easier. Also, what I want to go back to what Nate said before about if you agree on a multiple, if things change, it can you can work with it. So it happened to us in our deal. There was a misunderstanding on my side, which changed the profit. So instead of
Yeah.
like opening everything, and we already signed the LOI. And again, thankfully, we were both, as you can see now, very. I mean, we were very friendly, and everything is a lot of trust between the sides. So we just said, okay, let's recalculate the profit, leave the same multiple, and just proceed. And we just did it.
Mhm.
And for someone that puts so much time and effort into his business and watching the entire, work going away to another party for good reasons, but still, you want to make sure you be as prepared as possible and to work with people that you can trust because all those until it ends, the process can take a couple of months, and you just want
Yeah.
to make sure it's as smooth as possible.
Don, that is a really great advice, and I really love the idea on how you do and work with Amazon business. Because a lot of Amazon sellers, they just have the same situation as you. When we work and start working with a 7, 8 figures in Amazon, they have like the same problems. For example, they do not exactly focused on the organic or PPC results, and they do not combine have something will affect on your business. What will be the profit if we will do these changes, something like that. And I absolutely understand that the agencies or companies who focusing on that, they could absolutely show you like the opportunities that you could have, the things that you could improve, or to find some profit that you just forget to see or calculate inside your account. That is absolutely cool, and I really like it because it could be the main points for the most of Amazon sellers to be focused on for now. And Nate, I guess it could be the last question for today, and this question will be something like the advice from your side. Yeah, I know that you working and you see a lot of different Amazon accounts. All these accounts starts from like 7 figures and more. You do have a lot of experience on analyzing the data and the storefronts on Amazon. So could you please tell us like some statements that should be important, for most of Amazon sellers to be focusing on right now, on selling the business or controlling the Amazon business, and waiting until you will reach them and provide them with the opportunities to be purchased.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think the first piece of advice is I think a lot of people like Edon didn't start their business planning to sell it,
Yeah.
but my experience, if I reflect on the millions of people that are Amazon sellers, very few of them want to be running an Amazon business 15 years from now. And they also probably don't want to just wind up and close up shop with this thing that they've built and worked so hard on. And so if you think about that, the reality is that I think the vast majority of people who have built a successful brand on Amazon over time will probably decide to sell. That will be the best thing for them, either because their life situation changes or it grows to the point that they need to manage a team of 8 people and that's not what they wanted to do, or it's just a life-changing financial outcome, or all of the above, right? And so the first piece of advice I would have is just think about that. And it doesn't need to be anytime soon that you're going to want to do that, but think about what your goals are in your business. There's so much to do in this business. You've got 21 jobs as an entrepreneur, and so it can be easy not to think about the long term. But I would say first, start an internal dialogue, maybe after peak season right now, thinking about, when would I want to do that? What is my goal? Would I want to stay on and grow? Would I like to build a team, or would I rather sell something like this and sort of free up some of my cash and go do something else in Amazon or outside of Amazon? So my first piece of advice would be to, start thinking about when might be appropriate. The second piece would be, include others in that thought process. So, everybody has a mastermind or a group of friends that they're involved with. At this point, I feel that many people probably know someone who sold. And so have that conversation, reach out to, somebody like Fortinet, for example. Idon was his first conversation, just to explore that. You can always reach out to me. I'm easy to find, any Thrasio obviously is a major player. Perch, there are people whose job it is every day to talk to sellers about how they should think about selling their business. And so reaching out and having those conversations, should have no hesitation in doing that. And I do it every day. And that can be helpful as you think about your long-term plan. Somebody might say, my goal is to sell my business for $3 million one day. And I can say, like, hey, here's where I would need to see your business go to likely get there, and let's stay in touch, right? And that's a conversation you can have, all the way from that to, hey, I'm ready to sell now. I'm interested if the price is right, and going from there. So first part is think about it. The second part is don't be afraid to ask questions of people in the market who would be helpful to you. And then third is, it's really just a matter of, like, the thing that you need to do every day to maximize your business success in a sale is the same thing you would do every day to maximize your business success as an owner. So I think Idon went through a process where he tried to sell the business and it fell apart with the prior buyer. And so it's really good that Idon was still running his business every day and setting it up for success, so that when we had a conversation, it wasn't like he had just taken his hands off the wheel.
Yeah.
And likewise, even apart from that, when you sell a business, your thing that's going to drive value is always a multiple of the profit. And so the good news is that everything that you're doing every day to run your own Amazon business is probably driving towards that profitability. To your point earlier, I think that some might be focused only on top line and may not have the nuanced understanding of decisions they make in driving profitable growth. But drive your business as with your intuition and with your intellect. Try to grow it. Focus on a core. I think a lot of acquirers, people like me, don't want to see a storefront that has 300 SKUs that are each $5,000. We love to see 30 SKUs that are each $100,000. It's much more, much better asset for us to control and to be able to grow in a focused way. So that's the gist of my advice is, think about it, realize that you're going to probably sell it at some point or fold it up. And so you should probably plan on selling it at some point. It doesn't have to be now. Two is don't hesitate to reach out to someone like me. You can email me at nate@perchhq.com or find us at perchhq.com. And then apart from that, it's really just, think about what it takes to drive your business's growth. Do what you can do. You can't do everything. And when you approach the point where, the next step is just a big hurdle, that's a good cue to think about that conversation.
That is great. Thank you, Nate, for all this advice and recommendations. And I really think that most of the Amazon sellers will find something that they could work right now or could ask you in more details. Yeah, because it's really important right now to speak about it, to find a roadmap on how you should correctly grow your business, scale your business, or fix something inside your Amazon account for start working better. So thank you. Yeah. Done.
Also, just I want to say the
Yeah,
same
of course.
thing. I don't know if this video will have links to my Facebook page or something, but I don't mind. As everybody can understand, I'm a very pleased seller, and obviously recommend on both the buyer, specifically the buyer search and the
Yeah.
broker. So if somebody wants to consult with me, drop me a line. I have no interest, but I'm more than happy to help. And I know there's like some uncertainty, and I'll be happy to help to get some clarity on this if somebody wants to consult with me.
Great, done. We will absolutely put all contact information for Nate and you below this video, and everyone will have a chance to contact you and ask some questions if they will have them. So yeah, once again, thank you so much for all these advices and this cool conversation, because it's a first time that where we could see the clients that just sold a business and company who just purchased it. And thank you, Nate. Thank you, Idan. That was really amazing.
Thanks, Vitaly.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you.
man.
Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And that is all for today's Dr. Amazon episode. Don't miss our future arrivals with a new hot topics. Press the like, leave us a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. We will come back to you shortly.